What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name is Nicole and I'm a recovering addict. My sobriety date is July 13th of 2015 and I am currently tapered down to 1 milligram of Suboxone, and here on my channel I document that journey. When I started I was on 12 milligrams and I have been able to taper down from 12 to 1 in about a year and 3 months. And so here we talk about maintenance medication, we talk about addiction recovery, we support each other, and we cheer each other on to achieve sobriety. And we work at this together one day at a time. So if that's something you guys would be interested in doing, I hope you guys will stick around, subscribe, and join our family. The Real Talk Recovery family it's a strong family of addicts and alcoholics that are, in recovery and seeking recovery, and it's probably one of the best communities I've ever been a part of, and I'm so grateful to have you guys. Today what we're going to talk about is we are going to talk about why I no longer believe in abstinence-based recovery, and I'm going to give you guys several different reasons and examples why. But before we get into that video, if you don't mind, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. That way you will be made aware of every single time I go live. For those of you guys that are brand new to the channel, I go live Monday through Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I hope you guys will join us. We have recovery support group meetings every night, Monday through Saturday. And if you're somebody who wants to support my channel, I do have a Patreon and a members only button. So if you want to join either one of those, you'll have access to extra videos, a recovery support group chat, and our workouts. So yeah, join the team, y'all. Join the team. Come help support the channel and get in shape with us. And it's like a family. We got over 40 people in Patreon and like 30 people in the members group. So that's like almost 100 people that are part of the Real Talk Recovery inner circle. And we all talk to each other during the day and we have a chat, and it's really cool, you guys. And any of you guys are welcome to come to it. Like I said, it's only $2. So I'm not trying to make it to where people can't join. I'm, keeping it really low so that way anybody can join, and we really would love to have you. So let's get into this video. I've been wanting to make this video for over a week, and every time I think about making it, I get nervous because I don't want to offend anybody. But I have been really praying about this for a long time, you guys, and I want you guys to understand that I'm coming from a place of love. I'm coming from a place of personal experience. And I want to share this with you guys because for a long time I felt like my recovery wasn't valid because of the way I was taught recovery had to be. And so I want to share with you guys what I have learned in the last 4.5 years about recovery. And I want to help you guys, if you're maybe feeling like I did, to not feel like that. So a little bit of a background. I was an active drug addict from the time I was 17 years old till the time I turned 32. I was also pregnant with my son and using drugs, and gave birth to my son while I was high on methamphetamine and opiates. A year after my child was born, he was taken from me by Child Protective Services because of my addiction. I was addicted to methamphetamine, cocaine, oxys, heroin, Xanax. I didn't have really a drug of choice, but if I had to nail it down to just 3, it was IV meth, IV oxy, and Xanax. I got sober in July of 2015. I went to a 30-day treatment center, my 5th one. And when I came out of treatment, I had 2 weeks sober because I was in treatment eating Xanaxes for the first 2 weeks. So you need to understand that I had been to rehab 5 times. I have been to prison for a year. I had been in trouble a lot. I have been in and out of halfway houses and sober livings. And so this was at my first rodeo trying to get sober when my son was taken away. This was probably like the 20th time I had tried to get clean and sober. And the way I was trying to get clean and sober was through abstinence, was through the the 12-step abstinence program that is taught in almost every rehab across the nation. And that is the only way I had ever been taught that I would be able to achieve recovery. And so every time I would go through a treatment center and come out and do my best to stay sober, get a sponsor, go to meetings, 90 and 90, take suggestions, all the things that they tell you to do in these abstinence-based programs. I would do all these things and then I would end up failing. And I would think, what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Why can't I get it like she did it? And I would have friends who were able to achieve sobriety through this abstinence-based 12-step program. And I would think, there's got to be something wrong with me. Am I stupid? Am I just dense? What do they tell me? I must not be willing enough. I must not really want it. That's what they would say. I'm not doing the program enough. I'm not going to enough meetings. I'm not listening to my sponsor enough. Oh, you must have did the steps wrong. I mean, I've heard it all, you guys. It's all about how willing you are, Nicole. You must not have been ready to get sober. And I used to really believe that. I used to buy into that because that was the only thing that I was taught. Okay? And so fast forward, me getting my son taken away, going to treatment for 30 days, coming out, and knowing that my child, my flesh and blood, is in foster care, and that if I relapse, my rights to my child will be terminated. My firstborn son, my only son. And I was scared to death because I wanted to be sober. I didn't want to lose my son, but I also wanted to use more than anything I've ever wanted to do. I wanted to get high. I wanted to get high to block out the pain. I wanted to get high because I didn't want to think about how I had just lost my son to CPS. I wanted to escape reality. And that's all I had done for over 15 years was escape reality through drugs and alcohol. And so here I am, the rubber is meeting the road, and I have to stay sober or else my son will lose his mother. And so at that time, my husband had went and got put on Suboxone, and I had only heard of Suboxone because I had used it in between being high, okay? A couple times, a handful of times, not a lot because it wasn't something that was like I really knew that much about, but I had used it in between a couple of times where I got sober, and then I didn't have any, I was trying to get sober and I didn't have any opiates, so I used Suboxone. So I didn't have a very good education about it. The only thing I thought about it was that it was a way for you to manipulate the system and stay getting high. So here I am, 2 weeks sober, thinking my husband is manipulating the system so he can still get high while our son is in CPS. So I was pissed. And so I was like, what am I going to do? I need to meet with my doctor. I need to talk to my psychiatrist. And so our whole team of people, we all met together. My husband, my psychiatrist, my doctor, and we all sat down, and they really gave me a working knowledge of Suboxone. They explained to me that it was a partial opioid agonist, that it would reach a ceiling effect in my system, and that I would not get a euphoria or a high from the medication. And this is all things that I didn't know. And so I made the decision to get on Suboxone. And at that time, I was very scared. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it, but I knew that I had to try something different because I had been trying to get sober through abstinence 12-step based recovery fellowships for over 10 years. I had been back and forth, in and out of rehab. And so I took a chance and I got put on Suboxone, you guys, and it was the best thing I ever did because now I've been sober without any drugs or alcohol for 4 months, 4 years and 10 months, almost 5 years. I've got 2 more months till 5 years. And that is a miracle because I couldn't go one day without using drugs and alcohol, especially IV drugs. I couldn't go one day. I was a slave to my addiction. So let's fast forward into my treatment with Suboxone. I got on a 12 milligrams. I was started at 8, then I bumped up to 12, and that's where I sat for the last 3.5 years. And while I was on Suboxone, I started working the steps, the Alcoholics Anonymous 12 steps, with a sponsor from Alcoholics Anonymous, who, just so you guys know, my sponsor from Alcoholics Anonymous is amazing. She is probably one of the, sorry, there's hair on my face. She's probably one of the realest, open-minded women I've ever met in my life. She's never judged me for being on Suboxone, and I've been completely honest with her about it. But that is not what I've always experienced. And that's not what other people have told her to do with me. I have met so many people through these programs who think that they have the right to tell another addict or alcoholic what medication they should be on. I have met so many people in these programs who will tell you straight to your face that you're just replacing one drug with the other and that you're still addicted. I have met people who have basically compared what I'm doing to being on heroin. And it's an awful feeling. And I've never met anybody like that until I started telling people, other addicts and alcoholics that were in these programs, that I was on maintenance medication. Because I've always been somebody who's very, very transparent about my journey. And when I started realizing, after about a year sober, I started realizing that I wanted to share my story. And so I started sharing openly and honestly, because that was what I was taught to do. And I learned that from these 12-step fellowships, is that, you know, honesty is so important, and transparency. And so I tried to practice those principles in my life. But it's hard for me to teach these same principles to other people who are struggling with addiction whenever I see these people that are in these fellowships and they're not practicing those principles in their everyday life. And so that's why I have stopped. That's why I've stopped kind of using 12-step Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous teachings and readings on my channel so much, because my views have changed. And I want to share with you guys what I mean by that. So it's really important for y'all to understand that this is lived experience. I have experienced judgment, ridicule. I have been made fun of by other addicts and alcoholics that are in these programs, okay? So I want y'all to understand that I have forgiven those people. I pray for those people, and I hope that by watching this video that this will educate people that were like that are still like that, to maybe change, because by doing that, you're not helping or converting any addict that is utilizing maintenance medication. You're not converting them to your abstinence-based way of thinking. The only thing you're doing is pushing them farther away from ever wanting to be a part of that fellowship. And the thing that I was taught in those fellowships is that it's about attraction, not promotion. And so if you truly believe that that program is so amazing, then you should live it in your life, and then people will see, and then they'll want to be a part of that. Now, I fell into the trap of preaching that whole way of living to others when I first got sober. And even 2 years ago at the beginning of my videos, you can see the more crass, rough around the edges Nicole, who didn't think before she spoke, who would just say things. And now I realize that the things that I say, they hurt, and people listen. And I never want to deter any of you guys from getting life-saving treatment, whether that's through the 12-step fellowship, abstinence, maintenance, another religion, any kind of program that's going to help you change your life. I don't want to discourage any of you guys from trying every single thing, because that's what I had to do. I had to try every single thing to learn that this is what works for me. You know, MERA, Medication Assisted Recovery Anonymous, a fellowship that is for men and women. It's all inclusive. It is non-judgmental. It is literally non-judgment is our code. It is probably the most loving, tolerant fellowship that I have ever come into contact with, and I don't meet people there that are just judgmental just to be judgmental. Shut the door. And so I really love it, and that's why I'm so excited to be a part of it now. But I used to feel that same excitement for the 12 steps until people ruined that by being ugly and judgmental. And so if you're one of those people who looks down on other addicts and alcoholics because of the medications that they're using, I really want to urge you to take a look in your heart. Why do you feel the need to pick people apart? Why do you feel the need to be judgmental? And look inside your heart and ask yourself, is it because I'm jealous? Is it because I think I'm missing out on something? Is it because I think they cheated the system? Because it's got to be something in you that makes you feel that way. You know, let the dog in. And sorry, I'm annoyed because I'm trying to do this video and it's literally 16 minutes in and I started it 3 times over. And so I want to make sure that I say everything I want to say, but I also have a child going back and forth in between the doors, letting all 5 dogs in. So shut the door, son. Okay, so next thing. What was I trying to say? Oh gosh, so important to me. Okay. The reason why I bought into that fellowship and that way of thinking for so long was because it was the only way that was taught to me. And so if that's the only thing that you're taught for so long, then of course you're going to believe in that, right? And so since being on maintenance, since meeting Dr. B, since joining with all of you guys and helping people, I have learned that every person's recovery is different. And every person should be treated as a separate. No one person recovers the same. So you can't say to somebody, oh, Alcoholics Anonymous, you'll be able to get sober through that. I know it. It's going to save your life. La, 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 la. Because not every person is going to get that same. So it literally has to be case by case situation. And so I can sit up here and I can share with you guys things that work for me, and I can share with you guys how I have learned to stay sober. But the bottom line is you have to tap in to yourself. You have to find what works for you inside you. Okay, you have to reach out. The things that I think that you can benefit from are therapy. Things I think you can benefit from are fellowship with other addicts and alcoholics, like here on this channel. Places that are non-judgmental, all-inclusive. You don't need people who are telling you it's one way or the highway, because for an addict like me, when I hear that, I'm like, I'm out of here. You know, meeting makers don't make it. You don't have to be somebody that goes to 1,000 meetings every day to stay sober. That's not true either. These are all things that have been ingrained in me for so long, but I'm telling you guys, like from experience, that these things are not set in stone. And so what I believe in is that treating the person's addiction should come second to treating what's underlying that. Why are you getting high? Are you getting high because you're depressed? Are you using drugs and alcohol because it's a long, like something that's happened from one generation to the next? Are you from a family of addicts? Do you come from a dysfunctional family? Have you been abused? There's so many different deciding factors, but I think that addressing and identifying those underlying issues, and then treating that, followed up with other treatment for addiction, such as medication, getting the person stabilized on a good track with therapy, fellowship, support, and working with that person until they can stand tall on their own. I believe in that more than anything in the world. Do I think that there's a place for the 12 steps? Sure, if I do. And I think that for a lot of alcoholics, the 12 steps at Alcoholics Anonymous works for a lot of people that have alcoholism. Where I see a lot of things that are disconnecting is with this new generation of addicts that are on all this fentanyl, heroin, and a lot of people, I don't want to say that they don't want to go through it, but it's hard for somebody to just buckle down and say, you know what, I'm jumping cold turkey and go through that hardcore withdrawal. And then a lot of people don't have access to $1 million treatment or detox every day. Okay, so that's another big factor, is that a lot of people can't afford to go into these treatment centers. And so something like maintenance medication, Suboxone, I was able to raise my money up, get money for my family, and then get a job, and I have been able to afford it on my own, and I was homeless with nothing. So I know if a person wants to do it, they can do it. But I believe in, a more science, evidence-based treatment program, other than, the whole 12-step model. And like I said, I'm coming more and more away from that because of the fact that I run into more and more people that are dangerous, and they speak things and they say things that are just like, they don't think before they speak. They just spew stuff. And they spew it because they hear some old timer in an AA meeting say it, or some old timer in an NA meeting say it. And it's like a saying that's been going around since like 1930, and we're literally in 2020. So anyways, I'm rambling now. I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. Like, I'm learning so much more about addiction and recovery, and I'm broadening my horizons. Do I think that the 12 steps, that a person can benefit from working the 12 steps? Absolutely. But make sure that you find yourself a good sponsor who's open-minded, who actually really practices those principles in their life, and who doesn't try to act as if they're your doctor, and I think you'll be all right. But if you're looking for a more open-minded, all-inclusive, non-judgmental, science-based approach to recovery, stick around and hang out with us here at Real Talk Recovery, because that's the way we're going, and that's the way we've been headed. So I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tonight.